Welcome back to Pop Dissected. Today, we're going to be reviewing Selena Gomez's third solo studio record, Rare, her first record in 5 years. As of now, Rare is set to debut on the Billboard 200 with 105 to 120,000 units in its first week, with around 50 to 55,000 being pure sales. This will surely secure Selena a number one on the chart. Rare follows Revival, which debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and spawned the top 10 hits, Good For You, Same Old Love, and Hands to Myself. Throughout 2017 and 2018, Selena released 4 singles, 3 of which were top 20 hits. While previously thought to be standalone tracks by some, these tracks now appear on the Target, Japanese, and International Deluxe version of Rare. And while they were technically singles, the first official single of this era was Lose You to Love Me, which became Selena's first number 1 single on the Hot 100. So as of now, we can see things are shaping up great for the Rare era. When speaking about the record, Selena stated she waited so long to release the record simply because of timing. She wanted to wait until the right time to do so. And it's understandable. There's always so much pressure from artists to constantly have a body of work in circulation, and that type of pressure can get to an artist. But it's clear with this record, Selena waited to put out a full body of work she truly felt was her own and that would connect with her audiences. But now we're going to get into the review of the 13 standard track edition of Rare. Some critics have praised this as Selena's best work to date. Well, is it? Let's dive into each track and see what's up. But before we begin, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more future content on all your favorite pop stars. The record opens up with the title track, Rare. It's a great self-empowerment anthem where she sings of demanding to be respected in a relationship. And this theme of self-empowerment is consistent throughout the record. Rare delivers a very important message in a way that isn't heavy-handed. It keeps it playful and fun, so it's a nice balance. I think this track has a nice, groovy production to it, and the latter half of the chorus is absolutely perfect. The bridge gets to the point, however, some of it, and I'll be honest, is a mess. The vocals are so overproduced, and I just don't think it's very nice to listen to. Odd production choices are another thing that stood out for me on this record. But in spite of that, that's not me saying I think you shouldn't like it or it's bad. They're just things that don't work for me. Despite this, the track recovers in its final chorus and delivers an exceptionally fun outro. I think it's a great track, but that bridge with the overproduced vocals and layering holds it back from being outstanding. The second track is Dance Again. With this track, we're continuing the same groovy pop sound from the opener, and it's refreshing. While I did state some odd production choices do stand out on this record, I think overall the musical production is very solid and strong, despite the little things here and there. During some points in this track, the vocals endure lots of manipulation, and I just don't think it betters the song. The lyrics are relatively simple, and I think they still get the message across though. You don't always need overly complex lyrics to tell a story, and I think the final chorus is the best part of this song. I think so far with the record, aside from production choices that hinder the tracks, is great so far, and the story of what we're getting into is very clear and concise. Third, we have Look at Her Now, a song telling the story of someone rebounding back from a relationship stronger than ever. We're still continuing the anthemic empowerment concept with this track, and while I really love the story of this track and I think it's a great dance song, I think a lot of things hold this track back from its full potential. The mm-ms are just obnoxious. I know they're fun and they're energetic, but I think they're just distracting. There's also this unflattering production in the hook before the bridge that is so unenjoyable to listen to. However, the bridge makes up for it as it slows down for a bit and gives a great message of one finding love when it's their choice. But again, we're dealing with vocals unneedingly being plagued with auto-tune. This track has a lot that holds it back, but the next track, Lose You to Love Me, redeems the record for me. This track is beautiful. Vocally, Selena showcases what she's capable of, and we get a real sense of emotion, and it's also a nice change of pace from the electronic dance tracks. I think we could have seen Lose You to Love Me one track earlier in the track listing, but Selena has commented how the tracks are put in a specific order with how they go together. However, it's not entirely clear if she means this narratively, thematically, or even sonically. Lose You to Love Me is empowering. and it brings chills. The harmonies, the story, and the minimal production make this track stand out in the best way possible. It's no wonder this track went number 1, and I have to say this arguably is the best track off this record. 5th, we have Ring. The record slows down and gets sassy and salacious. It's got a sensual feel to it, as Selena has gone from an emotional vulnerability to feeling empowered, but in a different way. It's not about finding oneself after a breakup, which the preceding 4 tracks basically have been in one way or another. In this track, she's telling us she's got the interest of several potential partners, and she's basically playing them, playing a long game. In a way, it's Selena reclaiming her position in a relationship. Similar to Rare, where she sings about how important she is, in this track, she sings about how she's basically got it, and has all these potential suitors after her. I think this is another favorite of mine. It has fun, saucy production, and the track isn't overhauled with the electronic production or auto-tune of preceding tracks. 6th is Vulnerable. I was hoping we get another slower track along the lines of Lose You to Love Me based off the title, but no. We're thrust back into the groovy electronic sound, but so far on the record, I think this is the best sounding one. However, the vocals still have this auto-tune to them, and it doesn't make them particularly enjoyable to listen to at some parts. And honestly, part of the lyrics sound like Selena's just mumbling through them. It's a bit hard to understand her. However, the chorus is where it's at. The beat drop is great, and I think that's where this track's strength is, the production. I do appreciate the story of the track, however. She hesitates on being emotionally open with someone, and if that person takes advantage of her feelings or hurts her, she'll decide to be emotionally open and not fall into being closed off. It's a wonderful, beautiful story, and I think it's something we can all learn from. I think the only issue I have is that at times, her singing comes across as mumbling, particularly in the verses, and some of the autotune on her vocals is distracting, but overall, the production is great. 7th on the record is People You Know. It's a track about having your time wasted by someone and feeling regret over spending time with that person. Along with Vulnerable, I think the production on this track is really solid, and overall, the production has started to get a lot better on this record. The drop in the chorus is also amazing, and the bridge, it's incredible. The back half of the chorus and the bridge have the vocals auto-tuned, and while I don't think it particularly works, I think it works better in this track overall with its production. It just works more effectively and feels more purposeful, where in previous tracks, it just seemed to be random and out of place at times. Overall, this has to be another favorite for me off this record. Next on the record, we have Let Me Get Me. I'll be honest, folks, and you may hate me for it, but I do not like this track whatsoever. I think the production seems to echo the first few tracks off Rare, which, as I've stated, I wasn't particularly fond of. It seems to echo Dance Again in a way. I don't think the production is anything special. I'm just not impressed with it. It's fine. And the bridge has an annoying static sound throughout it as well. I think the lyrical rhymes and the verses are kind of lazy and not particularly effective for storytelling. The vocals are actually really nice, but there's this odd "oh" vocal throughout the chorus, and it's just distracting. While I enjoy the song's story of just wanting to hold on to one's own joy, which continues Rare's overarching theme of empowerment, I just don't think this track helps the record in any way. Honestly, I think this record would have been a lot better without this track on it. 9th is Crowded Room, and here I think we have another one of my favorites. I think this track is just great. This is a wonderful and welcome change of pace, and I think it shows a lot of Selena's best on this record. The song has it all. The production is nice and slow, and it's very sensual. Okay, look, I'll be blunt. It's sexy as hell. Selena is showcasing some awesome vocals, and I think they strike such a great chord. Lyrically, we're presented with a track about forging a connection with someone and finding refuge in them. And even in a crowded room, the intimacy between one and their partner is so strong, it feels just like them. While I at first didn't like the bridge by Black, I think it honestly fits the song so well. And honestly, I think this is one of the best tracks on the record. Hands down. 10th in the track listing is Kinda Crazy, a song detailing how a partner in a relationship has flipped, and the way they're acting out isn't quirky or cute, it's, well, crazy. And honestly, where do I begin? This track is great. It's fun, it's sexy, and also has this great shade to it as well. I think the production isn't too overproduced and has a wonderful trumpet in the chorus. Selena, while not delivering super powerful vocals, is still showing her capability. I can honestly see a music video for this song already. The post-chorus is just so fun and groovy, and there are these little twinkly sounds dispersed throughout the track to give it an ethereal quality. The final chorus starts slow and then explodes into a sexy finale. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say. I mean, this is what's up. This is great. But 11th is fun. I don't think it's fun. It sounds like a different side of Look at Her Now. Maybe that's a positive. There is this whining in the production of the verses that is annoying, and the pre is played with more of that awful auto-tune. The bridge, however, is the best part of this track, production-wise, minus the whining sound that returns. This track is just another example of being plagued by unwarranted auto-tune and obnoxious production, but it still is a welcome change of pace, much like the couple preceding tracks, and overall, the story of the song is great, about forging a type of relationship with someone, but wanting it to remain casual, and being really in it for fun. I'd say this is a fun track if you're reading the lyrics and not listening to it. But don't worry, because 12th, we have Cut You Off. And it seems like every time there's a track I don't particularly like, the one immediately following it makes me love this record again. Cut You Off is a track about literally cutting someone out of your life and wanting to move forward. The production is crisp and mid-tempo. It's relatively simple without wild electronic sounds. Her vocals are so clean and the chorus is fun and floaty. I mean, I don't see one thing wrong with this track. And the guitar solo? Oh my god. Selena really delivered with this track. A literal winning, everybody. Closing their record is track 13, A Sweeter Place. This track is essentially about wanting to find a place in one's own life where they're away from all their worries and can relax in peace. I think this track has a nice balance of production. There aren't any particularly disagreeable elements, and overall I would say it's pretty polished. Some of the vocals have effects on them, but they aren't entirely bad. I think they work well. This record just gives us a whole mix of emotions, and this closing is a way to be absolved from that, and just find comfort. I think the production is a nice balance between the tracks we see early on the record versus the latter half. Overall, I think Rare is pretty much a mixed bag. I think each track has a nice story to it that is clearly articulated. The message of the record in each track is concise and forward. We really see Selena displaying different reflections of self-empowerment and love. I think this record shines most with the story of these tracks and the record's respective theme. Even if I don't like all the tracks, I can honestly say the story in each track, it works. But personally, as you've probably figured out, the production is what holds back a lot of this record for me. From the overprocessed autotune to bizarre production choices on some tracks just made it unlistenable for me. Despite the odd track every now and then, the back half of the record is the best part of it. It has the most consistency and overall best production and vocals. I did enjoy most of this record. It may not be my go-to for her if I want to listen to her music, but honestly, there are some amazing tracks on this record, and I'm so glad I was able to listen to it. I'd say the best tracks for me are Lose You to Love Me, Ring, People You Know, Crowded Room, Kinda Crazy, and Cut You Off. Comment down below what your favorite tracks are. And while I'm not a big fan of Selena and some of the record did not connect with me, I have to say, Selena has just earned a new fan. Very well done. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more future content on all your favorite pop stars.